Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's Empowered Women's Coaching Call. My name is Kira Love and I have the incredible Alex here with me today. Alex, I have been looking forward to this interview, I must say, since we booked it in about 3 months ago. I've been counting down the interviews, so I'm so excited to have you on today. Thank you so much for joining us.
And you've been physically manifested a flu from your excitement, am I right?
I know. I'm not feeling 100%, guys, so you're going to have to excuse me, but trust me, you will need no energy from me because I have to say, Alex, and I would never say this if it wasn't true, but I got to see you at an event on the Gold Coast a few months ago, and I really was genuinely blown away by your energy that you brought to the stage. And I just found you not only so informative, but it was so entertaining to watch you and listen to the information. And I think that's a rare quality for someone who can nail both. And it just made it so enjoyable to be in front of you. So thank you.
I received that. Thank you so much. Sometimes I feel like, got a lot of masculine energy in a woman's body, and it works really well sometimes, but I also feel like it does trigger some people. I'm also really trusting the process though with these triggers or what comes up. And for anyone watching today, if there are things that I say that make you go, ooh, and trigger you, please get that's the exact thing that you're needing to hear right now for your evolution.
I love that. Anytime something triggers me now, I'm like, okay, spotlight, there's something there that needs to be worked on.
So good, hey?
I'm not enjoying this, but thank you for the trigger.
What a great reframe.
Yeah. So we are talking about money mindset today. Before we get into that, I just am so incredibly grateful when you guys share these recordings and these lives, because we really are just here to add value, and we're just giving our time for free here because we want to make an impact. We're passionate about serving. And so if you guys can share the message, if it's helping you, then we love that. So I have one of the best prizes I've ever given away today. I've actually been saving this for you, Alex, because I'm so excited to interview you. But I have this amazing journal. Oh, you can't see because of the sun. Damn it. Anyway, it's you might have seen them all over Instagram, but it's the Magic of I astrological planner, and it is so beautiful. There's so much intention setting, goals. If you love the moon phases, that's in there too. Menstrual planner, all of that, along with the moon phase calendar. So it's pretty cool if you're into manifesting and all that kind of jazz. And all you need to do is share and tag Alex and I into the share, whether it's on your Instagram stories, whether it's on Facebook or on your Instagram wall. Just make sure you tag us so that I
can. So good.
So I love this topic because, again, it's something that I had to really get my head around, master, and work hard on because, I was raised by an incredible single mum, and I've had to work on some mindsets around that. Now I'm an independent mum too, so I've had to really work on some limiting beliefs around, the financial side of that, as well as the self-worth side of that. And I've had to break through a lot of glass ceilings in order to create the success and financial security that I have as a woman. And I'm so passionate that women create their own financial independence, no matter what their circumstances, no matter what relationship they're in, because you just cannot predict the future. I've learnt that firsthand. And I'm just so grateful that I'd already started working on this stuff before I got to where I am today. So, that wealth consciousness really does require a lot of deep self-reflection, because we have these belief systems that have been set up from birth, that have been really influenced throughout our entire lives by what our family members' belief systems are, the little comments that they say, like money doesn't grow on trees and all of that bullshit. So we're here to break through the bullshit today. So hopefully you guys are ready to empower yourself. So I'm just going to hand it over to you, babe. You know what? I'll let you intro yourself because you know yourself better than me.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you. And I love the way you pre-framed today, because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. Hello, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Alex Tripod. I'm an international speaker. I'm an author. I'm a business coach and manifestation coach, and my passion is helping specifically people, like obviously I help people wanting to manifest whatever it is they want, their desires, but specifically I love helping people with online businesses, taking their income impact and time freedom to the next level. And I'm truly passionate about this because I truly believe that once we have our business vehicles rocking and we get it flying off the tarmac, so to speak, it starts creating us those 5K, 10K, 20K months and beyond, and has us create that financial independence and that financial freedom. That's when we can start to really tune in and go, okay, like, what else, soul? What else do I want to do? How else can I create impact? And I think I'm really passionate about this because when we get out of that scarcity, contracted energy of me, survival mechanism, I've got to pay the rent, I've got to do this. Once all that's taken care of, then we can actually start feeling a lot more connected to others, to the universe, to source energy, and start really giving back. And I think this is where we can truly start accelerating a world where leaders come together and a world where love starts to trump fear. And that's really what we're talking about here on a high level. When we go beyond just having successful businesses and having money to go on holidays with and play with, what we're really all wanting when we chunk it right up to the highest level is we all want to be fully self-expressed, and we all want to be living from that place of love and vibrating high. So I work specifically around vibration and energy and shifting frequencies. And I kind of wanted to, before we go into the wealth identities and the unconscious wealth mask or identity that potentially could be stopping you from breaking that barrier into your financial goals, I wanted to strip it back down to a little bit of the basics first, just so I know we're all on the same page. And Kira, at any time that you think I've gone a little bit too much, just strip it back, intervene, ask me a question, and I'll clarify for your tribe.
Just unleash yourself. Go for it.
I've been given permission to unleash. I love it.
Working them all up to it, so it's all right.
Yeah, awesome. And so basically, I'm sure everyone listening right now has heard everything is energy, right? And what does that actually mean? It means, okay, look, we are made up of cells, even you, right? We are made up of cells, which are made up of atoms. Atoms, when you break it down, are made up of subatomic particles. And what are subatomic particles? Subatomic particles is just energy, right? And so depending on, we all hear these terms like, oh, I'm a high viber, I'm vibrating high. Your vibe attracts your tribe. What does this actually mean? On a scientific level, it means that when our subatomic particles are vibrating really fast and they're light, it means that your energy levels are a lot more expanded. And it means that your energy doesn't stop at your physical skin. Just because you can't see your energy with your eyes doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I'm sure we've all experienced before someone with a real beautiful energy about them, someone with an amazing presence about them. Now, what does it mean to be present? Okay, and I'm just talking a little bit of basics before we get into the hectic stuff. So being present means that I'm not living in a dense, contracted ego. Okay, and what I mean by that is these lower vibrations of shame and guilt and fear and apathy. And so ego, a lot of the time, a lot of the time people think it's like, oh, I have a big ego, vanity, conceit. What ego actually means, and Eckhart Tolle, who's the author of The Power of Now, an amazing book, he explains it in a way of our compulsion to live almost exclusively from pain from past experience or anxiety of the future, which means, guess what, guys? It means we're never actually making decisions from a place of presence. We're always fearing about the future. Am I going to run out of money, or is this going to work, or what ifs that are just an illusion or just a projection. And I think when we can really strip it back, when we're living in that present moment, that's when, that's true abundance. And so what actually keeps us living presently is because 95% of the time, what we're manifesting in life is actually coming from the unconscious mind, meaning all the programs and the beliefs that are stored in your subconscious mind, all the stuff that you learned. So think about think of yourself between the ages of 0 to 7. You are like a sponge downloading on rapid speed. You are soaking up everything that mummy, daddy, that you've seen from society, that you've seen from TV, things you learned from any other big influential person that was around you at that time. And so from 0 to 7, you're actually in a state of mind called theta state. Now, what theta state actually means is that we're in deep hypnosis. We're in deep hypnosis, and we've got one job: to learn and grow rapidly from the things we see around us. So think about it in terms of money mindset. Think about it in terms of what you've been conditioned around money. And so if you grew up in a household where you had your mum or dad go from 0 to millionaire in zero to millionaire in bullshit record time, sweet, you are good to go. Your programs are in alignment with creating financial freedom. The reality is, though, how many of us really had a mum and dad that went from 0 to millionaire or 0 to financial freedom in rapid time? And this is where we've got to look at things as well. It's like, okay, cool. If my conditioning is actually going against my vision, this is what I've got to look at, because 95% of the time of what I'm manifesting in life is coming from the unconscious mind. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I love that guy. Give me a yes if anyone here has read any of his stuff, even YouTubing his stuff. He's bloody brilliant. He talks about, we think that we're living our lives, but in fact, our lives are, being lived. And what he means by that is, we're actually, most of us that aren't doing the work to reprogram our subconscious minds, we're actually in a deep hypnosis 95% of the time. So by the age of 35, 95% of the time, we're actually running automatic programs and habitual automatic programs. And it's just like you're just running on autopilot. So you think you're making your decisions, but you're actually only consciously making decisions 5% of the time. And this is why it doesn't even relate to just money. It's like, oh, I'm going to get healthy. Lasts for 48 hours. Next thing you know, you're going for the chocolate bar. Like, what are these self-sabotaging things? And so, yeah, this is why I'm really, really passionate about this, because, and I'm going to go a bit full throttle here and say, it's the question of, are you ignorant or just plain stupid? And what I mean by this is, a lot of our parents and a lot of our grandparents, they were ignorant. Now, ignorant is not a bad thing. Ignorant simply means I don't know what I don't know. And please get personal development, money mindset, like all this new age stuff is so readily available to us these days, and it's becoming really trendy, to be honest. Like self-help, personal development is actually becoming really trendy, okay? And that's really awesome. But please get as well that your parents and your parents' parents were just doing the best they could with the level of consciousness that they had at the time, and with the information that they had readily available to them. Thinking about the internet that just came along, right? 25 years ago, 20 years ago. And so when you think about this, it's like, I guess the biggest thing that kind of pisses me off is I see so many people being information junkies. I'm going to keep going to all the free stuff. I'm going to keep just dabbling. I know I've got money mindset problems. I know I've got limiting beliefs around this. I know I'm playing out my mum or dad's scarcity programs. I know I don't believe in myself, right? Yet I'm not willing to do anything about it. And so for me, the biggest thing was really investing in myself. Now, this does not mean you've got to invest money. For me, it was money because I had skin in the game. Holy shit. A lot of people might look at my situation and go, well, it's all good for you, Alex. You've got financial freedom. I was living paycheck to paycheck, not even 4 years ago. Paycheck to paycheck, had no vision, and I get what it feels like to not have that self-belief. I get what it feels like to be living just for the weekends, to go pretty much drink myself silly for 3 days in a row, only to rock up Monday to do it all over again for Friday. And so please get, a lot of people might look at Kira or myself and go, well, I could never be like them. They've got such great energy. They believe in themselves. They've got these platforms. It only happened for us because we drew a line in the sand. It only happened for us because we made a decision. I'm going to change. I'm making a decision to raise my standards in life. And so, you know, I think it's really important here to look at where we are actually taking advice from in terms of wealth creation. Because please get, a lot of us, especially for those of us that have started an online business or bought into an MLM or an affiliate marketing or whatever it is, or a coaching or a personal brand, whatever it is, right? We're wanting to create rapid success and potentially replace our income from our 9-to-5 job. And I'm not saying that's not possible. It's entirely possible, especially if you want to do it in a rapid time. However, a lot of us are still trying to create it by taking advice from older generations, from our parents. We're trying to do it the linear logical way. You know, it's like we still have this belief of it's all good to invest in something that's tangible and real, like a house, because I can see it. It's tangible. It's safe to go invest and lock myself into a 30-year mortgage. Ooh, but to invest $1,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 in myself, in my own growth, that's absurd. And I need everyone to really get here that you are your greatest asset. You are your biggest return on investment that you will ever see in your entire life. And I really want you to look at this, because if you are more willing to you'd rather back a pile of bricks and cement and land other than your dreams and your vision and your future, please get, again, that's just a limiting belief. I don't believe me myself enough. And for me, I totally get it. So invest in yourself, whatever that may be. It might be the energy. It might be the time commitment. It might be that scary amount that makes you go, ooh, I've invested in this 2K program. Now I've got to apply myself. Now I've got to do it. This is it, right? And for me, that's what really changed. And so when we're talking about wealth identity, please get that identity creates reality. So I want you to think of two things, right? So let's say you got here, reality one here. So this is your reality right here, and this is your identity. So reality, identity. You're wanting to shift into new reality, which is requiring a new identity. Most people, though, want the physical manifestation of the money, of the car, of the success, of the clients first before they feel like the new person. Give it to me first, universe, and then I will feel abundant. Give it to me first, universe, and then I will believe in myself. And we've got this cycle completely backwards. It's absolutely insane, this cycle of insanity, right? This is about conditioning yourself first. And this is where identity work is so powerful, right? Condition yourself first to feel the emotions in the now. And I really mean be a custodian. Be a custodian for how you're thinking, how you're feeling, who you're allowing in your space, you know, what energies you have around you, your environment. All these things affect your personal energetic frequency, right? And so this is what really helped me accelerate. I went from, I was a senior graphic designer at Scoopon, right? And beautiful, amazing environment to work in. And it was a comfortable job. It wasn't bad, but it also wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And it wasn't until I hit a crisis point that I went, holy shit, like, who do I want to be? What do I want to do? And actually forgot why I mentioned that. Why did I mention Scoopon? There was a reason for this, Kira. I was talking about
bad energy there.
Oh no, I got it right. So within 30 days, I decided I'm going to become a life coach. So I quit my job, took out a $20,000 personal loan from Commonwealth Bank, and invested about $40K in my skill set, a mastermind, how to market myself, personal branding, Facebook ads, all of it. And I quit my job without one paying client. And And it was an insane thing. It was just crazy, ridiculous risk that I took. But over the next 30 days, what I did is I was a custodian for emotionally conditioning myself. So I went hell-bent on, it was like my rituals. It didn't matter that I didn't have the money in my bank account yet. It didn't matter that I didn't have the success I was seeking, because I was conditioning myself every single day that I had an insane level of belief, meaning I believed my reality to be true before it was in my reality, right? And so most successful people, give me a yes if this is making sense, guys, and give me a yes if you understand this. Most successful people have an insane, ridiculous level of self-belief. Give me a yes if you agree. And think about self-belief. You can't see it. Self-belief isn't something that it's tangible. I'm going to buy myself some self-belief. You've got to create that internally, to the point that most successful people that are truly creating an impact in this world have almost a deluded level of self-belief. And I say deluded because we've got to be crazy enough to believe it before it's in our physical reality. And so please get belief creates reality. Everything in your reality right now, as absurd as it sounds right now, guys, is just a holographic projection of what you're storing in your unconscious mind. Belief creates reality. Most people say, oh, I believe it because I can see it. It's true because I can see it. No, it's true in your reality because you believe it. You are constantly creating your reality. This is why they say inner world creates outer world. And if you want some scientific proof behind this, get this, right? An atom is made up of 99.999999996% empty space. Which means what? It means that if we were to actually take out all the empty space of the 7.7 billion people that live around planet Earth right now, what is actually left as solid, dense matter, what we call real, what we can see with our eyes, we'd fit into one teeny tiny sugar cube. Right? So what is real? What is real? Why do you think everyone has a different reality? You are the creator of reality. And so this is when we go into wealth identity, because every identity has different beliefs about themselves. And so this is where we got to look at, you're crazy, right, Rebecca? This is where we've got to look at your tribal conditioning. And so let's say, right now you are a sum total of all the good bits and the not so good bits of your mum and dad, and their mum and dad, and their mum and dad, and their mum and dad. And so in a nutshell, this is your ancestral coding, okay? And so from this tribal conditioning, this tribal cycle, right, you've got a conditioning. And what I mean by conditioning is that you create rules. These rules are created because these are the rules of how to stay alive, how to be accepted in the tribe, right? And these rules can range anything from, like Kira was saying, money doesn't grow on trees, or only the men in the family make the money, or children should be seen but not heard, or money is the root of all evil, or money is the root of all family fights. Okay?
One of my most disempowering ones, Alex, was that it's the man's responsibility to make and manage the money. And I've disempowered myself for years with that, to the point that I'm still trying to now learn financial, what's the word? Intelligence.
Yeah, intelligence. And I love that you share that, because it's really interesting. The thing that the biggest thing that we are so passionate about shifting through is the thing we end up teaching. And I know for you, you're really passionate about really empowering women, right? And for me, it was like, for me, I was obsessed with manifesting for 14 years and nothing shifted. From the age of 18, I was obsessed. Things only started shifting when I was 30. Why? Why? It was because for 12 years, I was doing all the free stuff. I was listening to all the stuff, but I was still plodding along at that 7 out of 10. I was that comfortable. And by 7 out of 10, it's a dangerous number to be sitting on. I'm a 7 out of 10 relationship, 7 out of 10 health, 7 out of 10 finances, 7 out of 10 job. There's not enough pain or leverage to actually want to change. So the fear of the unknown keeps us trapped, because what's that saying? The devil I know better than the devil I don't, or something like that. Probably fuck that up. But does that make sense? And people aren't willing to take that risk. But for me, my pain, my crisis point made me plummet so low that I didn't give a fuck what was on that side. I was willing to do whatever it took to plunge into that uncertainty. So anyway, going back to wealth identity, we've created these rules, right? And it's from what we hear from mum, dad, influential people, TV, society. And so what ends up happening, and this is the biggest thing I want to land with wealth identity right now. What ends up happening, guys, is let's say you've got a goal to create financial freedom, or you've got a goal to whatever it is, grow a business or be independent. What happens is, because we are conditioned with these rules unconsciously, on an unconscious level, we go, strength to strength to meeting the needs of the role, the rules, instead of meeting the needs of what actually needs to be done to meet your goal. So what do I mean by roles? Generic unconscious roles can be the caretaker, the people pleaser, the martyr, the victim, the robot. For me, it was scapegoat. So what do I mean by this? Has anyone ever felt like a bit of a black sheep of the family? Give me a yes if you've ever felt like a bit of a black sheep. I like to call it, reframe, psychedelic sheep, right? And for me, it was like always like the black sheep of the family. We always get like, oh, if only Mary didn't do so and so. Oh, look what Mary's up to again. Oh, we've got to rescue her again. For me, it was if only Alex wasn't gay. Oh, and it was like this. I was like literally carrying shame that wasn't mine around my sexuality, and so for me, resigning from this role was huge, because what I realized was I was trying to create success from a place of trying to prove my enoughness. And once I resigned from this role and I took off this ridiculous black sheep of the family mask that I'd been carrying most of my life, then I was no longer hustling my ass off to try and prove to people, to try and prove to my family that I am enough. And it was just totally unlocked so much stuff for me. I know for me, I work with a lot of mums, and when they first come in, they've got a lot of caretaker, which means unconsciously they feel mummy guilt for putting themselves first. And for any mums listening right now, I really want you to understand that please get right now that by you stepping into your courage, investing in yourself, putting yourself first, setting time aside to actually grow your business, setting aside a time for just you to be selfish. You are doing the best thing you possibly can for your child, because again, they are downloading and duplicating the energy in the house. They're downloading and duplicating your belief systems. So it's not enough anymore to just say, hey, child, you're amazing. You're so magical. You can do, have anything you want. Believe in yourself. You're amazing. Yet you don't go put yourself first. You never take a risk. You don't follow your dreams. No, they're downloading, be a martyr. Don't follow your dreams. Stay stuck in fear, right? But you've got to be the person that you're wanting them to literally download and duplicate. And it's the most powerful thing you can do to reprogram your kids' minds. So they're literally duplicating and downloading like, wow, look what mum and dad's doing. Holy shit. And you're inspiring them, and they just as a default, when they're 15 or 20. Their default vibration is courage, instead of where potentially a lot of us started, which was shame or guilt or fear. Their default programming is courage. How cool is that, right? So if it's one thing I can land is here.
I love that. That's epic. You need to turn that into a tile of
little Instagram tile. Love it.
There's so many, I have to say that I'm all about empowering women to want to do this for themselves. But unfortunately, or fortunately, however you choose to look at it, often doing it for self isn't enough in the beginning of a motivator or an inspiration tool to use. But when it comes to our kids, we'll do anything for them. And so sometimes that is the kind of resourcefulness that you can draw on to get yourself outside your comfort zone, because if you realize that you're like effing your kids up by your messy programming, that's the initial inspiration to move, which is better than not moving.
Yeah. And some of really cool tools, I reckon, that, if you're sitting here going, this is all sounds great, Kira and Alex, but how do I actually do this? Like, give me some tools, give me some context. Like, how do I...
We're getting loads of responses, loads of comments, by the way.
Awesome.
Everyone is cheering and loving everything you're saying over on Facebook.
Beautiful. So much love. Thank you, guys. And so when I was talking about before, like old identity, old reality, let's say you've got new identity, new reality. To create this, you can't get to the new reality until you shift into your new identity. And what I mean by new identity is a whole new level of belief systems. What you believe to be true about yourself, your capability, what you raise your standards of what you want from life, your belief systems around money. And the fastest thing, and this is what I do with my clients, is I want you to think of between reality 1 and reality 2, there's sort of like this wormhole that you have to go through, right? And so when we're creating really rapid change, it kind of does feel a little bit like, it can feel a little bit clunky, because what's actually happening through this wormhole to your new reality, right, is your subatomic particles are starting to flux. They're starting to move and vibrate, and they're trying to calibrate to form a different sort of reality. And so the quickest way we can actually move through this wormhole is the emotionally conditioning tools. This is where you've got to really find tools that resonate with you. So whether it be speaking your life into existence and scripting up what I like to call a magical script, projecting 6 months into the future, speaking it into the now as if it's already happened. What you're doing is, number 1, abracadabra comes from the Hebrew saying, we create what we speak. Number 2, if you're speaking this into existence every single day, you're actually training your languaging to be more positive. You're also speaking into existence, and your subconscious mind is being ingrained every single day. This has happened. This has happened. This has happened, right? Subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what you feed it on a consistent basis and what is reality, right? And this is the fastest way to shift realities. For me, meditation was a huge one. Meditation helped me really weed out a lot of that negative dialogue and chitter chatter, what I like to call the monkey brain, right? We have anywhere between 65,000 thoughts and 90,000 thoughts per day. And psychologists will tell us that 70% of these thoughts are either negative or redundant, because we keep thinking the same thing over and over and over again. We are habitual creatures. Meditation for me helped me clear a lot of that shit, a lot of that junk. The reality is, Kira, a lot of us are trying to stuff new beliefs, and we're trying to reprogram our mind with new beliefs where we've still got a head full of junk. And so one thing that really, really helped me, and I'm just going to trust that a lot of people are kind of needing this at the stage that they're at right now, is, I want to give them a tool of how to actually rewire a money belief right now. So let's say, and I want to speak about it in terms of like, let's say you've got a head full of beliefs right now. Money doesn't grow on trees. I have to work so hard for money. I'm never going to create financial freedom. There's all these beliefs that are quite deeply anchored in your subconscious mind that keep creating the same reality, right? It doesn't matter how much action you take, these beliefs keep creating the same reality. And so I want you to think of, like, I'm sure we've all heard that brain cells that fire together, wire together. Now, what makes them wire together? There's something called neural growth factor. And I want you to think of this as, in layman's terms, brain glue, right? Now, there's only ever a certain amount of neural growth factor, brain glue, in our brains. So it's not like our brain keeps producing more. There's only ever a certain amount, which means only ever a certain amount of brain circuits can be fired and wired together, right? So for me, one of the biggest things that I did to shift my dominant vibration around money beliefs was it was actually creating a new one. So let's say step one is I want you to write out a disempowering money belief, a shitty money belief, right? Whatever it is. So write out, I believe I've got to work hard for money. I believe I'm never going to create financial freedom. I believe, like, I just attract shitty leads that don't want to buy into my business. Whatever it is, okay? And then step two is, okay, cool. What's the opposite of this? What do I want to believe? If I currently believe that I'm attracting shitty leads that can't afford to work with me, what's the opposite of that? The opposite might be I'm a magnet to quality leads that say yes and that are hungry and ready. So we want to put it in the present tense and we want to make it as short and concise as possible. Or for me, I used to have a belief of, I don't even know where to start. Where would I even start? And I rewired that to, I have everything I need to succeed. I have everything I need to succeed. So you want to keep it in the now, short, concise, punchy, something you can remember. Step three is, and this is a challenge, step three is to literally have this be the most dominant, frequent, and loudest thought that is going on in your head over the next 7 days. So I'm going to give you a 7-day challenge and see how quickly reality to change. This shit is magical, guys. This is literally what I did in my first 30 days. And albeit I was a bit of a crazy bitch, I would literally run down Beach Road in the mornings and I'd be running with my headphones in, right? And I'd be like pounding on my chest and I'd be like yelling out my new belief, like really anchoring it in. And I had like cyclists like 5 a.m, almost falling off their bike. Like, who is this crazy person? She's lost her mind, right? But within 30 days, my belief system completely changed, which means, guess what? Reality started changing. And so
to add to that, because there's a lot of, like, even my team are watching this, and like you said right at the beginning, because a lot of people do look at us at like we've got it all together and all of that, and yeah, we are further along than some in our journey. Definitely don't have it all together, does anyone? But honestly, 5 years ago, I was a shell version of what I am today. I was so painfully shy. I'm still an introvert. I've trained myself how not to be at times. When I need to call on that, I can be an extrovert, but by nature, I'm actually quite a shy person. And so I hadn't created any real success in my life. I didn't have a voice. I didn't really have an identity that I was subscribing to other than being just a mum. And I had real no vision for my future. And when I stepped into my business and decided, like you, to create something epic and to really start becoming the designer of my future consciously, what I wanted it to look like. My two things that I had on replay are, I'm a boss babe, because that empowered me at the time, because I was a mum who did not love myself in any way. There was no part of me that was felt career driven throughout my life, or that I felt like a boss about. So I'm a boss babe was empowering to me because I didn't have to be just a mum. And the other one was, I'm going to be so loud they can't ignore me. And every day that was on replay, because I was someone who was screaming on the inside but never used my voice. And so it was on replay every single day. And every time something was hard, a goal that I was facing that I set for myself and it was hard, I would just say it over and over, I'm going to be so loud they can't ignore me. I'm a boss babe. And changed my reality dramatically, and it changed who I am today. And I feel like that person. I'm not afraid to use my voice. I feel like a total boss babe. I'm excited about life. Like, it's just changed every element of my life. So it really works, guys. But you have to be willing to make a shift.
Yeah, and you've got to be, I love that you shared that, you've got to be consistent. You know, it's like, don't tell me I did it for one day, my reality hasn't changed. Guys, consistency is key. Sloppy routine equals sloppy results. You know,
It's when it's hard that it counts. When it's easy, it doesn't count.
yeah.
That doesn't create change in yourself when it's easy.
For me, and if anyone's struggling here to think of one, but potentially you're lacking in self-belief, my one, full transparency, was quite simple. It was, and I did pound on my chest, but you don't have to do this, but it was, I can, I will, I must, I am. And my level of self-belief skyrocketed. So all of a sudden, going back to the brain glue, the neural growth factor, any limiting beliefs that you may not have of, I can't do this, is this even possible, I'm not good enough, people aren't going to listen to me, all of a sudden that I can, I will, I must, I am becomes the loudest, most dominant, and most frequent thought in your brain. Now, what's really special about neural growth factor is it must seal the circuit between the most frequent, loudest, and dominant thought. So remember how we talked about there's only a certain amount of brain glue in your brain? Well, guess what it has to do? It has to start stealing glue from neighboring circuits to steal a new one. So let's say all of a sudden, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, starts weakening because glue gets stolen from those to steal a new circuit. And this is why it's so important, guys, to be a custodian of what you're allowing to circulate in your mind. As soon as you can start taking a little bit of control, you know, of what is actually what you're allowing the dominant thoughts to be in your mind, you're going to start seeing a shift. And for a lot of us, we need that kickstart. We need to be a little bit more diligent about it at the start, especially if you are lacking in self-belief, especially if you are just kind of swirling in your head and you feel a little bit stuck. Have a 7-day challenge. Get really clear on what's a belief you want to rewire. And I want you to say it out loud with conviction, you know, and I want you to do it a few times a day, whether it is when you're out on a run, whether you go for a walk down the beach, whether you lock yourself in a room by yourself and you sound crazy and you're saying it out loud. Please trust me, you know, it's one of the most powerful things that I've ever done. And yeah, and so I mean, I guess that's really it in a nutshell. I don't know how much deeper we want to go today. Is there any sort of questions or I guess before we go to that, I do want to just wrap up and say with these unconscious wealth roles that we can play, and some of you are thinking, cool, how do I actually, do this? You know, the process is to actually resign from this role. So I do actually have a really cool free training, and I can link you up, Kira. I've done an activation of wealth around wealth identity, and I go around 3 of the most main wealth roles that we play unconsciously that's happening in humanity right now. And that is the hard worker, the high achiever, and the hustler. So if you know that they've got elements of any of those and you'd love to be able to resign from this role so you don't perpetuate this conditioning to your children, and you want to call back your power, I take you through a really powerful 3-step process. So I'm happy to link anyone up if you're interested.
That'd be great. Maybe we can pop the link in the comments over on the Facebook Live. Maybe might be the easiest way to grab that. Where else can people follow you?
Awesome.
I know you've got maybe a course coming up on the Gold Coast or?
Yeah, so it's not, thank you. So it's not a course. So basically it's, I'm doing something really different, Kira. So I'm up here back again on the 29th of February. I'm running a Galactic manifestation music concert. So basically it's a 4-hour concert between 2 till 6 p.m. It's family friendly. And it's a mix between, think of it like a TEDx talk and a future music festival. They had a baby, right? And so it's like personal development mixed with fun, music, high vibes, activation, frequency shifting. And I've purposely done it on a leap year so you can literally be coded and receive the activations and upgrades to quantum shift you 4 years into your most activated and aligned timeline. Now, I'm actually going to be doing 4 conscious raps. Yes, I do music now. right? And I've got other leaders and other platforms too. So it's basically about bringing leaders together, sharing their most profound shifts to have created financial freedom and really living a life on purpose from a place of true fulfillment. And this is, for me, it's not just creating financial freedom for and helping people, boss babe it in their businesses, because everyone gets to a point where it's like, well, what now? And for me, this is what it's about. It's about truly anchoring new frequencies onto this planet where we can accelerate a world where love wins, where love starts to speak louder than fear. And I think music has the ability to reach the masses and speak to people's hearts and souls that potentially a personal development seminar couldn't, and this is why I'm creating this. I'm really, really excited. Tickets are super.
Damn it. I'm going to be in India.
Damn it.
So
all good.
I'm missing it. Sounds so fun.
Well, there is a live stream ticket too. So if you want to jump on that, you'll get the replay. Otherwise, it is going to be an annual event. So would love. If it is in the Gold Coast, and there is also a live stream ticket for those of you watching this and know you want to be activated and upgraded, but you can't be in the room.
And so how can people follow you on social media as well?
Alex Tripod. I don't know. I guess the best bet is probably, just go to my Instagram, which is Alex Tripod, or my personal page. You'll see everything. I'm constantly doing all sorts of stuff from Facebook Live.
Value. So definitely go and follow, because you do a lot of value add, which I love when it comes to social media. And just to remind everyone, if you share on your social media channels so that we can get this message out, I am going to be doing a draw of the amazing manifestation planner and calendar. This is what it looks like, but it's in wood. But it's gorgeous. It's white and gold.
Awesome.
And it's really beautiful. So I will be drawing that out and announcing it next week. Is there any powerful truth bombs that you want to end with?
I might have shared this when I came and spoke last time a few months ago. And I'm not sure if I have, but I do want to finish on this, because I'm just feeling this is what's needed right now with people watching. And this is what profoundly changed my life and I'm not usually into motivational quotes, but here's one for you. On your last day on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become. For me, this sends such a firecracker up my whatever you want to call it, that it just inspires me, like, holy shit, I want to be proud of the person, and I'm not going to allow myself to plod along in life, because I want to live a life on purpose, and I've got one life. This is it. This is not a dress rehearsal, guys. So let's stop living unconsciously and let's do everything, because the more conscious we become more conscious creators. And this is what it's all about. You just start feeling more alive, and holy shit, life gets magical. Right, Kira?
Amazing. There's nothing I could say that will top that, so I'm not going to say it. But I do remember you saying that and it being like, that is one of the best quotes I've ever heard. It gave me shivers again, and I've heard you say that before. So beautiful note to end on. Thank you so much for coming to share your energy with our tribe. I really, really appreciate you and all the value that you add, and I've really enjoyed following you since hearing you speak. And I will definitely check out your future manifestation dance party extravaganza. It sounds amazing. Totally up my alley.
Thanks for having me on.
I'll chat to you soon.
See you, babe.
Everyone, have the best day ever.
See you guys.
Bye.